My name is Claire Donovan. I'm 38 years old, an emergency room physician, and the kind of person who has always believed that family comes first. I believed that so completely, so blindly, that I spent the better part of 15 years funding a life I was never invited to actually live. Let me tell you about the day I found out. It was a Thursday afternoon. I had just finished a 12-hour shift, 2 cardiac arrests, 1 pediatric trauma, a waiting room that never emptied. I was sitting in my car in the hospital parking garage, too tired to drive, eating a granola bar that tasted like cardboard, when my phone rang. It was my Aunt Patricia, my mother's older sister. The one my mother always called too blunt for her own good. "Claire," she said without even saying hello, "did you know your mother liquidated your grandmother's trust fund?" I stopped chewing. "All of it," Patricia continued. "Every penny. $287,000. Gone." My grandmother, Eleanor Donovan, had passed away 4 years earlier. She had left behind a trust fund split between me and my younger sister, Brianna, $287,000 each. My portion was meant to be released on my 40th birthday, per the terms of the trust. I had never touched it, never needed to. I was a doctor. I had built my own life, paid my own loans, bought my own apartment. But Brianna had needed help. Brianna always needed help. "She used it for the wedding," Patricia said quietly. "Brianna's wedding. The venue, the dress, the honeymoon in the Maldives. Your mother co-signed the release documents. She told the trust administrator you had given verbal consent. I had given no such consent. I had not even been invited to the wedding." Before I tell you what happened next, I need to take you back. Because this didn't start with a trust fund. This started 35 years ago in a house in Dayton, Ohio, where I learned that love in the Donovan family was not equally distributed. Brianna was born when I was 3 years old. I don't remember a time before her arrival, but I remember very clearly the shift that happened after. My mother's face when Brianna cried. Soft, urgent, immediate. My mother's face when I cried. Tight, impatient, slightly annoyed. I told myself it was because Brianna was younger. Then I told myself it was because Brianna was more sensitive. Then I stopped telling myself stories and just accepted the reality. My mother had a favorite, and it was not me. Dad tried to balance things. He came to my science fairs, helped me with math homework, drove me to SAT prep on Saturday mornings. But he traveled for work constantly, and in his absence, the hierarchy was clear. Brianna got the new clothes, I got the hand-me-downs. Brianna got the bedroom with the window seat. I got the one next to the laundry room. When Brianna wanted to quit piano, Mom pulled her out the same week. When I wanted to quit piano, Mom said I needed to learn follow-through. When I got into medical school, my father cried on the phone. My mother said, "Just make sure you don't neglect your personal life, Claire. Doctors have very lonely marriages." Brianna got a car for her college graduation. I got a card that said, "We're proud of you," with my mother's signature and a $20 bill tucked inside. I told myself it didn't matter. I had medicine. I had purpose. I didn't need their validation. What I didn't realize was that their favoritism was costing me something I couldn't see yet. It started small. My mother called me during my residency. Money was tight. Could I help cover Brianna's rent for a few months? She'd just moved to a new city, just getting started. I sent $1,200, then it was Brianna's car insurance, then a medical bill, then a temporary loan that was never repaid. I kept a running total in the back of my mind, but never in writing. That was my first mistake. Over 15 years, I calculated later, I had sent my family approximately $94,000. Loans, gifts, emergencies. I called them investments. I told myself I was helping. The truth was I was buying my place in the family, and I didn't even know it. When my grandmother died and left the trust, I felt something I hadn't in years. Security. Not because I needed the money, but because it was proof that someone in my family had seen me clearly. Grandma Eleanor had always been different. She called me every Sunday. She kept my medical school graduation photo on her mantle. She once told me, "Claire, you are the one who will carry this family's dignity. Don't let them spend it." I should have listened more carefully to that last part. Now, sitting in that parking garage with a half-eaten granola bar and the phone pressed to my ear, I understood exactly what had happened. My mother had not just stolen money. She had stolen the last thing my grandmother had left me, the last proof that someone had loved me without conditions. I asked Patricia to send me the documents. She did, within the hour. My mother's signature was on every page. I called a lawyer that same night. My college roommate, Dana, had gone into estate law. I explained the situation in 15 minutes flat. She was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "Claire, this is fraud. This is not a family disagreement. This is fraud." I knew she was right. I had known it since the parking garage, but hearing the word out loud made it real in a way I wasn't prepared for. Before I tell you what came next, I want to pause for a second, because I know some of you have been here, not necessarily with money, but with that moment of clarity when you finally see the relationship for exactly what it is. When the story you've been telling yourself, "They love me, they're just complicated, family is messy," simply collapses. Drop a comment if you've had that moment. Just type, "I know," and I'll know exactly what you mean. And if this story is resonating with you, please hit the like button. It genuinely helps more than you know. Now, the wedding invitation. 3 weeks after my conversation with Patricia, a thick cream-colored envelope arrived at my apartment. Embossed lettering, gold foil. Brianna's name and her fiancé's name curled together in elegant script. And inside, a handwritten note from my mother. "Claire, I know things have been distant between us lately. Your sister would love for you to be there. I was hoping you might consider walking her down the aisle since your father can't make the trip from Florida. It would mean the world to her. To both of us. Love, Mom." I read it 3 times. She had used $287,000 of my inheritance to pay for this wedding. She had forged my consent on legal documents, and now she was asking me to walk the bride down the aisle. I set the invitation on my kitchen counter and left it there for 4 days. I went to work. I treated patients. I ate meals and slept and ran 3 miles every morning. And on the 4th day, I picked up my phone and called my mother. She answered on the second ring, warm and bright, as if nothing had happened. "Claire, did you get the invitation? Isn't it beautiful?" The calligrapher was flown in from. "Mom," my voice was steady, "I know about the trust fund." Silence. "I know you liquidated it. I know you used my grandmother's money to pay for Brianna's wedding, and I know you signed my name to documents I never authorized." More silence. Then, carefully, "Claire, that money was just sitting there. You don't even need it. You're a doctor. And Brianna really wanted—" "Stop!" I closed my eyes. "I'm not calling to argue. I'm calling to let you know that I've retained legal counsel. Dana Reeves, estate law. You'll be hearing from her office this week." My mother's voice shifted immediately. Sharp, cold, the voice I remembered from childhood. "You're going to sue your own family? Over money? This is exactly why you've always been difficult, Claire. You've never understood that family means sacrifice." "Whose sacrifice, Mom?" I asked quietly. "It's always been mine." I hung up. What followed were 6 weeks of legal proceedings, family group chats erupting with accusations, relatives choosing sides. My Aunt Patricia stood firmly beside me. 2 cousins I had always liked went silent, which told me everything. My mother called 17 times in the first week. I let every call go to voicemail. Then came the deposition. My mother and her attorney sat across a conference table from me and Dana. My mother had dressed carefully, pearls, a lavender blazer. She looked like a woman who expected sympathy. What she got instead were documents. Transfer records. Her signature, dated and time-stamped. The trust administrator's statement confirming she had verbally represented my consent. Dana laid it out methodically, piece by piece, the way you'd present evidence to a jury, which, of course, is exactly what she had done for 20 years. My mother's attorney tried 3 different angles: that I had implied consent, that the money was functionally a family asset, that my grandmother would have wanted the family to use it for a joyful occasion. Dana dismantled each argument in under 4 minutes. Then my mother did something I had not expected. She looked directly at me across the table and said, "I did what was best for this family. I always have. You have always had everything, Claire. Your education, your career, your independence. Brianna needed this. She needed to know we believed in her." The room was very quiet. I looked at my mother for a long moment, at the pearls, the lavender blazer, the careful composure that was starting to crack at the edges. And I said, very calmly, "You're right that I have my education and my career. I built those myself. What I didn't have was a mother who showed up equally for both her daughters. And now I don't have my grandmother's last gift to me either. You took that. Not for the family. For Brianna. There's a difference, and you have never once acknowledged it." My mother pressed her lips together. Her attorney put a hand on her arm. The settlement came 3 weeks later. Full restitution of $287,000 plus legal fees. My mother and Brianna split the cost between them. Brianna had to take out a personal loan. The Maldives honeymoon, it turned out, had not been worth it. I did not attend the wedding. In the months that followed, I learned what silence felt like when it was chosen rather than imposed. My mother stopped calling after the settlement was finalized. Brianna sent one text that said, "I hope you're happy," and nothing after that. I did not respond. What surprised me was how little it hurt. Not because I didn't grieve. I grieved plenty, late at night, for the mother I had wanted her to be, for the sister relationship I had imagined we might someday have. But grief and regret are different things. I grieved. I did not regret. Aunt Patricia came to visit in the fall. We had dinner at a small Italian restaurant near my apartment. She brought a framed photo of my grandmother that she thought I should have. In it, Grandma Eleanor is standing in front of her garden, laughing at something off camera. She looks completely, entirely herself. She told me once, Patricia said, refilling her wine glass, that you were the one she worried about least. Not because your life would be easy, but because you had the spine to survive it. I kept that photo on my desk. I look at it on the hard days. I am writing this from the same apartment I have lived in for 6 years. It is not large, but it is mine. Every inch of it paid for with work I did myself. My grandmother's money, recovered and whole, sits in an account I have not touched. I am not sure I ever will. Some things are not about the money. They never were. If you have stayed with me this far, I want to leave you with something simple. Being the responsible one, the capable one, the one who can handle it, that is not an invitation for the people who love you to handle you carelessly. Strength is not permission. Competence is not consent. You are allowed to be both capable and protected. You are allowed to expect that the people who claim to love you will show it in ways that cost them something too. And when they don't, you are allowed to stop pretending that they did. I chose myself, not with anger, not with revenge, with documentation, a good attorney, and the very clear understanding that my grandmother had seen me when my own mother could not. That was enough. That has always been enough. Thank you so much for being here with me today. If this story moved you, please give it a like and subscribe. I read every comment, and I would genuinely love to hear from you. Have you ever had to choose yourself over a family relationship? What did that look like for you? Tell me in the comments. And if you know someone carrying a weight they never agreed to carry, share this with them. Sometimes the right words find us exactly when we need them. Until next time, take care of yourself. You have earned it.